So the next scene I thought was very interesting because June is in the rocking chair with Nichole, and she's just finally enjoying some time with her daughter. We're so lucky, aren't we? I also want you to know your daddy and I love you very much. Your first daddy.
Interesting that you'd pick up on that first, as opposed to, like, why are you so amazing? I know why. Luke and Moira are raising you.
Yeah.
I think, like, what June's doing in this scene is acknowledging all of the hands that are important to raising of Nichole. Like, she and Nick were important to, as far as we know, the parentage of Nichole and bringing Nichole into this world. Also, now that we know that, or like we have an assumption that Fred has like been part of Serena being pregnant, it does raise parentage of Nichole into play.
Oh, dear God.
Which we get into later. We get into that later.
Oh, okay.
No, there's definitely an illusion of that later.
Oh, there is? All right, we'll get it later.
Yeah, but with June saying, like, why are you so amazing? I know why. It's because Luke and Moira are raising you. And also, I want you to know that your daddy and I love you, your first daddy, is acknowledging that, like, there were 4 people that were really super important to this child's existence and who that child is going to become. And it's June, Nick, Luke, and Moira. And I love, like, June's acknowledgement that the 4 of them will permanently have a point in the rearing and how this child turns out. I think it was a matter of nature versus nurture. Like, the nature of this child is that it's going to be similar to June and Nick in some persuasion, but the nurture of it is that, like, you have Luke and Moira taking care of it, who are so polarizingly different than June and Nick. So this child is going to end up becoming a conglomerate of all 4 of their personalities.
Yeah, I did not read that, but that's no surprise. I definitely zeroed in on the way that Scarlett read it, and then I think her acknowledgement of Luke and Moira, I mean, obviously it makes sense. They've been raising this child, that this is very much the 2 parents that Nichole knows and the life she knows, but also now her mother is here, and her mother is going to tell her that this is a unique situation, but also in Gilead as elsewhere is all I kept seeing from this conversation of this is, but of course better, because you said that June and Nick are polarizingly different than Moira and Luke. I think that Luke and Moira, what I thought you were going to say, is polarizingly different than Fred and Serena. So I feel like,
Ooh.
as June was saying, like, much better that this child was raised by these 2 people. If I had to give my kid up and have someone else raise it, of course, it's better off in Canada with Moira and Luke than she would have been with Serena and Fred. And let's remember, this child was in Serena and Fred's care for a very brief but volatile time, and that could have been so much worse. Like, this child very much could have been Serena's, like, baby, and it would have been a nightmare. So I think she was very gracious of the fact that this child is safe and being raised by Luke and Moira. And then I think she was also being like, but also, I'm your mom, and your dad loves you too. And those are not your parents, we're your parents. Because in Gilead as elsewhere, like, it still feels like through this episode, she's not quite getting the access to her child that a mother would prefer. Obviously, I understand why, but it's just one of those things that, like, as a mother, that's what killed me through this episode, was watching her watch someone else raise her child. It was very much what she had to do in Gilead.
There's definitely an emotional component to this, too, because as she is finally having a quiet moment with her baby that she has not been afforded in so very long, I'm sure she's thinking about this kid and how she came about. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually wonder if that kiss that they had on the bridge was so fucking dramatic and amazing and like just all encompassing because that is the last one they're ever going to have. This is bringing up all these feelings. She hasn't had any closure really from the fact that she also had to leave behind this other person that she loved. Yet again, that's all she does is leave behind people that she loves. And so I'm sure that was bringing back a lot of feelings for her as she's holding this baby that was a result of that union, whether it was from the first union or the like week-long fuckfest that they had after. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she is acknowledging the fact that she probably misses him and she is probably wishing that they lived in a fucking normal world where they didn't have to do things like wish that, you know, these missing parents could be around,
Right.
you know, because of the totalitarian regime.
Yeah. Right. Or even that she's as thankful to Nick for his role in repeatedly and unequivocally trying to get her out and this child out. And here they are out. And he probably never will get that. And I think she's accepted that. Like you're saying, that last kiss very much felt like, at least in her mind, that could very much be their last kiss ever. And if that's what she's thinking, then I think as much as she's grateful that Luke and Moira have stepped up and raised this child, as we're going to see very seamlessly and well, but also uncomfortably well. And just in June's situation as like the outsider in her own theoretical home. And I think this was also her just being grateful that Nick got her and this child out and that they're not in Gilead and this baby isn't being raised by Serena and Fred, because we can all agree that would be awful for everyone involved.